All right, we are live. This is Tom Sellers with my partner, Frank Costiga. Frank, how are you?
I'm great, Tom. How are you this evening?
Wonderful. Welcome to our 2 cents. We are again here to talk about the whys and wherefores, the ups and downs, the skinning of knees and winning at running your own business from home, out of home, whichever. It does not matter. We have a guest with us, and we're really happy to have him with us today. Um, I'm going to have you move just a hair this way so your face isn't blocked by my thing there, and I may just get rid of that.
There you go.
I can do that. We have that kind of technology.
Yeah.
This is Drew Lewis, and we are going to talk with Drew about some things that he is currently doing, and maybe some things that he has plans of doing. Who knows? So I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff here so we can see our friend Drew.
Good evening, Ed Heinrich. Thanks for joining us. Rachel, always good to see you.
You're going to have to pick this up while I'm working here, Frank. There we go.
Okay.
Let's get rid of that.
Technical difficulty.
There we go. All right, now we've got everybody. Say hi, Drew.
Hey.
Yeah. Drew again has a great story to tell. Some things that he's doing. He's another one of my neighborhood friends who has a regular job as well as a little side gig, and we're going to talk about that. So to get us up and running, get us up to speed. Drew, tell us a little bit about you.
No problem. I'm Drew. I go by Drew, or any other name you want to call me. But
hey, this is a family show.
It's a family show. But my go-to profession, whatever, is I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, and I love to do stuff out of my house. When I was just starting, I was told by a fellow, I don't know, foreman, if you will, that explained to me, when you come in the morning, what do you want to do for a living? Do you want to pick up that and heavy part clutch for a semi truck, or would you rather grab the computer? And I immediately was like, oh well, duh, I want to grab the computer. I want to try health wise, I want to do that. And then he said, well, you want to learn the specific field like the back of your hand. So I pursued that forever, but because of diesel, I do diesel obviously at work, and then I love doing side jobs. He also told me, do what you like to do for a living and what you love to do as a hobby, so that you'll never get bored at work and hate it. So that's exactly what I chose to do. I prefer cars and hot rods, but I love diesel as well. So they just happen to correlate one and the same. So, but yeah.
Very cool. You were telling me a story a little bit ago, and I think it's the first time I've heard it. And this kind of goes to how well this guy knows diesel mechanics, and diesel engines and all those things. He was actually sent by his regular job. We're going to come back to that regular job in just a second, for some additional training. And you please finish the story. I
Sure.
think this
Yeah, no
is cool
problem.
as
Yeah,
hell.
no. So most of our fleeters internationals, we have some Freightliners and Thompsons, but and Collins. But I was asked shortly after I first started to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Kankakee, Illinois, to learn and train on what we have in our fleets. So I was like, no problem. So with my background, which we can get into later if you'd like, but with my background, I already know where I stood with that, so I was all on board for it. I went down there and they were teaching us the generic, this is what you're going to encounter, this is what to do, when, where, how, and we got to a Cummins class specifically, and that's my forte, if you will, engine specific. But the instructor started going on, and just because I was more curious, did you forget about this? Did you mention that? Or don't forget about that kind of thing. And finally the instructor, I wasn't sure how to take it at first, but he said, do you want to come up and teach the class? So I said, okay, no problem. So I walked up, stood up there on his computer, and taught the rest of the 45-minute class on how to do what, when, where, how, and programming and everything else with the Cummins engine, specific things you need to look out for, what you need to do, when you need to do it, how you need to do it. Went through all of that, and by the end of that, I even got pictures and stuff taken because they were like, I can't believe you actually went up there and taught the class. I love teaching as much as I possibly can. I just happen to do it for a living as well.
And that's a cool story, because think about it. How many times have we been to a seminar for work or some kind of additional training? How many of you, if the instructor said, "Hey, you want to do this class?" How many of you would say, "Yeah, I'm on my way"?
I'll come up, I'll do it.
I got it. Yeah, but I tell you what, you take a load off. Let me take care of this for you.
I'd hate for people to get a bunch of wrong information when the right information is readily available.
Right. So take us back now. So what is your day gig? What do you do? 9 to 5.
So 9 to 5, I'm a school bus mechanic, and I chose that because of try to give you the Cliff Note version of this. Out of high school, I didn't really know exactly what career path I wanted to take. I had I love hobbies. I like to be this old saying of be a jack of all trades, but I just tweaked a little bit. I want to be the jack of all trades and a master of one. I love diesels. I want to do that for my master of one, but I love tinkering with everything. I've done anything from glass blowing, woodworking, metalworking, body fabrication. It doesn't matter. Like resin, the list is practically endless. And I just love tinkering. I want to fill up the filing cabinet in my mind is what I consider, with as much possible information as I can. So anyways, while I was going along with that, I didn't know exactly what path to do right out of high school. So
Sure.
I joined the Marine Corps, served there.
And we thank you.
Oh, no problem. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I picked 3521 diesel mechanic, and I worked on Humvees, 7 tons, big snake-like LBS. And when I got out of there, I had a pretty good idea what I wanted to do. So right out of there, I ended up working for, actually, let's skip a piece of this story. I went to a couple different places, and they explained how military is good enough. Kind of. We just need a piece of paper that says you have a general idea, you know what you're doing. So I had to get that general piece of paper. So I called
Well, all you had to do is come over here. I wrote that for you.
Oh, man. So I called around to technical schools, and I was pretty much the question was, I know you can give me that piece of paper. Who can get it to me the fastest? And Wyotech called and said, we can get it to you in 9 months. And I'm like, rock on, sign me up. So me and newly married wife went shoot out to Pennsylvania and did that. And then in Pennsylvania, once again, at Wyotech, now every 3 months they do a career fair, if you will. You can't go to it until you're 6 months in, give everybody a chance. But it was right when the market was crashing, 2008, and not many people did job fair, and we all saw that. So there were certain people, me and one other, that took advantage of that situation and went to the first career fair we possibly could and found a company. They said, well, come down for a weekend. We went out there in Pennsylvania, got pretty much signed on the spot. And then after Wyotech, worked there for a handful of years, had a baby, came back to Illinois to be closer to family, worked at Freightliner in Palatine. And while I was in Pennsylvania, I was the foreman. I worked at bottom low man on the totem pole. And then I worked my way to foreman of the night shift. And then after that, came to the Illinois Freightliner. And same thing, low man on the totem pole, Freightliner, or Peterbilt actually, and worked myself foreman of the night shift there. And then when I left Peterbilt, same thing, just deja vu, went to Freightliner, low man on the totem pole, showed what I could do, was tested. They know my background coming to that point. It was we already have a foreman, we don't need a foreman. I said, that's fine, I have no problem, military, falling right in line, just following the leader kind of thing. And they gave me the first job, and from that point forward, once he retired, they immediately called me in and said, hey, we want you to be the new foreman. Okay, no problem. So I ran that shop, and then I had a pretty much heart-to-heart conversation with my father, and he explained to me what do you want to do 30 years down the road when you go to, say, retire 40 years down the road, what do you want to do? And it was a big pill to swallow, but the benefits just weren't there. So I went with school district and took the pay cut and everything else, but I'm still doing what I love to do or like to do, but at least the long-term benefits at the end. So that brings us up to today.
Very cool.
And so you do a little something on the side too. So you got a side gig.
Correct. Yeah.
for fun, for extra income, whatever.
Yeah, no,
So tell us a little bit more about what you do on the side.
Sure. Yeah, no, so I started noticing from place moving, especially in Pennsylvania. We'll start in Pennsylvania. When I was out there, they have an annual inspection of your vehicle. You have to pay $20 to drive through, and you go to a shop of any kind for the most part, and they just do a general inspection and say, hey, your car's roadworthy and you're good to go. And that was the first inclination to me of the foul play at hand, if you will, where I had a perfectly good running vehicle. I worked on my own stuff, and I go in and it was, oh, this is wrong and that's wrong, so we're not going to pass you. You'll have to come back pay another $20. I was like, well, wait a second. I'm a mechanic. And once I explained everything and how this, that, and the other, then they were like, oh, no, we'll just write the sticker and put it on your windshield. And everything was good. And I was, that's something ain't right here. So from that point forward, it just trickled down into, I've been more than willing to help anybody in any situation. And it progressed into, especially coming back to Illinois, I have a handful of friends or a couple friends that were pretty hard times. They actually had 3 vehicles, and all 3 vehicles went down.
That's when you're having a bad week.
When you're having a very bad week. So instead of panic, what do? I stepped in and I said, listen, I will get all 3 of your vehicles running for you, so you have the choice, and we'll worry about payment and all that stuff later on. I'm not wealthy by any means, but I have a specific account, if you will, set off to the side for if you can't pay, whatever. I'm willing to trust you. And yes, I've been burned, but I'm more than willing to trust that if I get you up and running and you're good to go, that you will repay in the long run. And I'm not looking out to screw anybody. I'm more willing to do what it takes to help you out the best in my possible ability.
And program note, this is not being offered as a service. Drew likes to get paid.
Correct.
If there is if you've fallen on hard times,
yes,
and he knows you.
Yeah. More than well, exactly. Yeah.
This is not a service open to the general public.
Free auto repair.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No. If I understand your situation and I've been around you, absolutely, I'm more than willing to accommodate whatever it may take. So.
Right.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I'll take my specific discounts that I get in my industry to the advantage of you, if you will, so that everybody makes out at the end. I get what I feel is reasonable because I don't have an overhead. I don't have all that stuff to account for. But at the same point, you're not being ripped off for you need this, you don't really need that kind of thing. So
I just wanted to clarify that. That's what the program note was. We're a show about business, and if we're out there telling people just go ahead and do it for free, and maybe people will trust it. You see that blows the whole concept.
Right,
that cannot happen.
No, absolutely not. But I've burned quite a few times doing that.
Right. And I know the kind of work Drew does. He actually worked on my wife's car, and it was a very pleasant experience. Now, one of the things I wanted to get into, and I know, excuse me, I know your process because you explained it to me. But what is it you do that perhaps other people that do some side work don't really do as well?
So how I'll approach a job or whatever, someone can have a complaint, and there's all kinds of different algorithms. There's the 3 C's, cause, correction, complaints, and there's all kinds of, I just kind of mesh it all into one in my industry. And I look at, you have a complaint, I'll quickly do as fast as I can diagnosing, because once again, the last jobs I've had, I was the express diagnostic person when it came down to the customer needs to know what a general idea where they're going in their repair. They need a 2-hour window. So by the time you drop your vehicle off, you have 2 hours to figure out a general point of you're going this direction. This is a general idea what it's going to end up costing you. So I've kind of just pulled that along with me throughout the years. And that's pretty much what my process is. So you have a complaint, I'll immediately come up with a general idea what I think it may or may not be. I'll do a quick look over. If you have time, drive it, stuff like that. And then what I really like to do is then get it to my house, jack it up, and actually look everything over, and then give you a detailed what's going to end up, causing damage-wise, how long my theory it would last, and stuff like that. And then, which is kind of unorthodox, this last part, which is once again on the whole faith factor, which is I don't expect any money up front 9 times out of 10 unless you're more than willing. But I try to take care of everything, and at the very end, here's a whole price list, and here's everything, and what everything costs, and the work intended, and what warranties I was able to offer along with it.
I recall when you did work on Rachel's car, you did exactly that. In fact, I was like, let me at least buy the parts. No. Long story short, he quoted us a price, and when he was done, it was less than what he quoted us. I'm like, dude, you're doing this wrong.
Yep.
So we were happy. So that's the kind of work that Drew does, and he's a handy guy at other stuff as well. He's helped the Sellers Ranch fix some things around the place, and
Jack of all trades.
yep, and he's taken beer in payment, which
Good stuff.
yeah. So have you had thoughts of, hey, maybe I might take this whole side gig a little bigger, and if so, what were those things that you feel might be standing in the way?
Yes, actually, for ever since I started working on my own stuff and tinkering around the garage, learning small things along the way without any schooling out of my garage in high school, it was tearing this apart just because I want to see what the inner workings are and put it together. And it needs a gasket because now I have fluid in places it shouldn't be and stuff like that. Just progression, but self-taught and going to classes. But I've learned over the years, I would love to open my own shop. I've always wanted to do something along the lines, but once again, instead of it being car related per se, I mean, I'll still do car stuff, but car related per se, I prefer big diesel engines. But either one, I mean, I like them both. But yeah, so I wanted to do that. The problems I've been running into is every time I think about doing that is the clientele, if you will, that I've built over the years, and what I can do for people, especially when I was working in a shop and seeing all kinds of different customers come through the door, big customers, small customers, and that you start to get a name out for yourself. And my biggest worry is letting people down. I never want to do that. So when it came to, if I open this door a little bit, I don't want to have to close it again. So I don't want to open this door a little bit, realize now it's a floodgate, and I don't have the shop, I don't have just everything, the resources,
Sure.
Thank you, to accommodate everybody all at once kind of thing. And it's a very hard door because everybody talks, especially in my industry with the diesels. So you talk to one, which then word spreads really fast. And my biggest worry is fine tuning what I would want to offer per se, so that I could not have that floodgate overflow me.
So yeah, so scale is your first issue.
Mm-hmm.
And another programming note here: you understand that we are self-producing this, and I'm the guy with the buttons. Rachel was kind enough to send me a text saying, "Hey, the title says Ed Heinrich. This is Drew." So I'll fix that. This is not, in fact, Ed Heinrich. He was on our show last week. This is Mr. Lewis, Drew Lewis, and we will fix that when in the editing room. Anybody know where the editing room is? Yeah, that's it. It's in the office.
Right.
Okay, very good. So program note. Another one while I'm thinking about it, we have actually, we're in the process of finishing up our first commercial. You get to see that next week. All right, back to where we were. So scale was your thing. You didn't want to open up the door and have all of a sudden everybody knows who you are and you're open for business and here's 500 people and one mechanic.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And then so that's fine too. I mean, you can look at it two ways. Like I look at it of that's the floodgate that I'm trying to scale down, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then the resource aspect of it I was actually talking with Ed, speaking of Ed, the other day about it I would love to maybe even fine tooth down to if I want to do just say engines, diesel engines, big rigs, and say, hey, I could offer this. Now I got to figure out, once again, not only the floodgate, but getting it off of the street and into my house, because in suburbia, an 18-wheeler parked out front of your house is not a good way to start.
I don't think they allow that out here anyway.
No.
Now, you and I have talked a little bit over the past few months. And we were just having a conversation earlier where I suggested, hey, you know what? If you want to take it into your house, you may not even have to have those semis parked. just another thought about a product you could bring to market, and you wouldn't even have to get your fingers dirty. So my point in asking that question, bringing that up, and Frank knows where I'm going with this because he does the same things I do. So we've talked, you and I, you've had questions about, well, what's this platform thing you keep talking about, that TW3, and what does it do? And so I asked Drew, hey, bring some of those questions with you tonight, because there are other people in the audience who have some of them, but they haven't raised their hand yet, and maybe we can clarify some things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we at one time had talked about podcasting, which here we are right now.
Bam.
So given the things that we do with this platform that both Frank and I work on, with podcasting and lead generation and referral marketing and lead generation and all the things that we do, it's a big bucket, wouldn't you say, Frank?
Say a lot of
Yeah,
that's foreign language.
it's more like a barrel.
Right. So
It's 50-gallon barrel.
every bit. So, one of the things that we do well at our company is we teach you how to do it. We don't just say, here's the platform, good luck. We have people that we coach weekly, sometimes daily. There's some people that I literally get a call from every day, but I'm okay with that. So based on those things, what were some of the questions you had in relation to some of those things that we talk about?
Sure. Yeah. A lot of what you said, foreign to me, is like hieroglyphics.
Sure.
But I knew very little bit about marketing. I figured, putting up signs or word of mouth is a huge one, or I don't even know where to begin with that, because I'm like, just billboards, stuff like that. But as far as getting the name out and or getting clientele that say it's not word of mouth, people I may know, clients, just getting word of mouth out there, I don't even know where to begin with that. And he was starting to explain some of that to me, which was quite impressive, that there's multiple avenues to go about it to accomplish the same goal at the end. Yeah, so I don't really necessarily per se a best way to put the question, but
Sure.
when it comes down to that, I understand marketing a little bit, but lead generation, he was, like I said, you were starting to explain that to me, so I don't know if you want to go into that, but
Sure.
it was, go ahead and start with that.
Well, I'm going to go.
That's foreign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the only thing I'm going to say, I'm going to turn over to Frank, because Frank knows what I'm doing. Frank's doing the same thing. And I'm going to let Frank talk about some different ways of marketing. But here's what I will do is I will say what I'd said earlier, the definition of marketing. Marketing and sales are two different things. I'm amazed at the number of companies out there that they have a marketing/sales department. The two are not the same. They don't belong in the same department. Marketing is the effort that you expend to get people in your door, to talk to you. Sales is what happens after that. So there are varieties of ways of marketing. I'm going to let Frank talk about some. I'll talk about some. But keep in mind, they are all about what it takes to take that person who has some interest in what your product or service is, and get them through the door. Now, sometimes that door is not a real door. Sometimes it's a hypothetical door. Sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes it's a form. Please give me a call. For my purposes, the door means anything that inquires, hey, I'd like to talk to you about your product or service. So, Frank, tell us. I mean, you've been doing this for years. So,
Well, one of the first things you need to do is define your target market.
Right.
Okay, because that, again, when you're marketing, you mentioned expending energy or expense to attract people,
right,
or attract someone that wants to buy. So
or at least have a conversation about
right,
right,
or someone that may have an interest in buying. So
right.
Again, in an effort to conserve that energy or that expense of attracting those people, you want to attract the ones that are most likely to become someone that you can have that conversation with and convert to a customer, a paying customer.
Right.
So you got to define that target market. And the whole idea about target market is, we all know what a target is. target we're familiar with, there's that red, we'll call it a red circle in the middle. That's the bullseye. And then there's another ring outside that, and then another ring outside that, and then another one out there. Well, anywhere on that target is good. Okay. Oh, but if you miss the target, but you're pretty close. But what you're always aiming for is that center, the center of that target, the bullseye. So that's really what you need. That's what you're looking for. And that's who you want to market to, or that's where you want to spend your time and energy getting your message out to, or getting information to, is those people that fall into that center ring of the target.
Right.
So you have to understand who that person is. You have to understand who they are and what it's going to take to get them to say, hey, I want to know more about what you do, or hey, I'm interested in what you do. Hey, I want to buy what you have, or I need what you have.
Right.
So that's kind of the first step, is defining that target market. So Drew, as you mentioned, you're leaning towards a diesel, and specifically the diesel engine. All right, well, so first of all, I'm not in your target market because I don't have a diesel. And even if I did, it would be a passenger vehicle as opposed to, you're looking more at the big rigs type stuff. So,
well, that's I guess that's the problem I'm running into, is part of defining it is I love doing that. That's where 99.9% of my forte is, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I love doing on the side car work. So trying to get both, to me, are two completely different ends of the spectrum together.
Absolutely.
is where I'm having difficulty of. I could figure out a way to do just this or just that or just that, but I want to be broad with it because I like to do all of it. But at the same point, I get a feeling I'll just be overwhelmed, if you will.
Absolutely.
So,
and you probably will.
Right. And what you would be doing, that identifying who your key customer is key. You want to know who they are, and you want to know where they hang out. So who is a big rig possible customer? Well, truck drivers, owner operators, other diesel mechanics, because they all speak the same language, right?
Yep.
So now you kind of defined your market. All right, this is if I have a product I'm going to sell, diesel mechanics, these are the people I'm going to start with, right? So now I need to know, where is it they hang out? Where can I find them to talk to them? And you would know this better than me, but I have to believe that on LinkedIn, perhaps on Facebook, perhaps, I guarantee you there are groups for these people. Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as far as location's concerned, that's another big one. Like you can look at it two different ways. I look at it as actually a huge good thing. You can look at it as a huge bad too, because when wanting to do as far as just the diesel side of it, the location is, you can consider a terrible location, but it's also a huge pro because there's no one out here. The northwest suburbs, there's no one out here.
Sure.
So you have to get close to the city or further south around that in order to even compete, if you will. So this area is perfect. I mean, I've talked to quite a few different vendors, and they're constantly talking about pulling up to this area, especially since ones that are around this area are closing up shop and moving closer to the city.
Sure.
That just opens the door even more. And once again, that's the whole floodgate thing of like, oh, great, one more reason why it's going to get even bigger.
Right.
But yeah, location's key, in my opinion. This would be an excellent location. But there's a handful of shops around town that I've looked at and my wife looked at of like, oh, this would work out perfect. But it's the actually grasping it and trying to, like, I don't want to just open doors and then next thing you know, it's mass panic, because it's the fine tooth you were talking about. If you could pin it down,
right, and then you'd have some other things to get to it. Ahead of that, you got to hire people.
Oh, exactly.
So, so we're going to keep that on the back burner, but we're going to continue to talk about how will we go out and find customers. So now we've defined who they are. We've defined where to find them. Frank, how are we going to talk to them? How are we going to get their attention?
Well, got a couple different ways to do that.
I know you do.
Hang out where they hang out, and go up and introduce yourself and start a conversation.
Right.
Another way to do that is cold call them.
God. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Start a blog.
Bam.
Start
Who would read that? Who would read a diesel mechanic blog?
someone that's in a
Come on. I know you're out there and you're listening. Come on. And you know the answer.
I think someone that's into quilting
Right. Right.
would probably also be into diesel mechanics. No, but yeah. So you have to find. So again, as you mentioned, LinkedIn probably a good, better place to start than Facebook. But LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn and find a group. Find a group, someone that shares that same interest or same, talking, as Tom said, the same lingo you're talking, and hang out, find out what's going on. Start asking questions. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Who do you think I should talk to? Hey, I'm looking for some help. It's always a great way to start. Ask somebody for some help. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm looking for some help. I've got this idea and I want to do this. Where do you think I should do with it? Where do you think I should start? And talk to people that are either A, in that industry, or A, would be someone that you could potentially help, and get conversation, get questions answered, and kind of go from there.
Speaking on that, on the online side of it, the very little that research that I've done is I've always had this idea of if hypothetically I didn't open my own shop, we'll just switch gears here.
Sure.
So now if I can, what can I do out of my garage that I could help mass amounts of people with, yes, doing it every single day or just questions or whatever. And my go-to was YouTube. Like, what if I just opened my own YouTube channel and just started going through the paces of everything? I just had to go. I felt like that was the way to go. And after briefly talking with Tom, completely opened my eyes that there's completely different avenues to take. And
funny you should ask that.
Yeah.
The suggestion that I had and still have, a blog is a dirt cheap way to get your name out there, and again, you're after a specific target. And quite frankly, it is a great target because it is not a target that is overwhelmed, like say insurance or banking or things like that, where there's millions of people in it. You're talking to two types of people. You're talking about people that actually do the work every day, and you're talking about people who own these things and drive up and down the roads with them. And maybe they're somewhat handymen. Maybe they resent the idea, I can fix the damn thing. I spent $200,000 and I'm going to fix it myself. How many of those people, and again, I couldn't even tell you what a common issue is in a diesel engine. I'm not even going to pretend to know one. But I know there has to be some because there's common issues in anything. So let's take common issue A. And it is something that most diesel mechanics are going to know how to fix. So you may not get a ton of activity from them other than getting them involved in the conversation, which if they're involved in the conversation, they're interested, they're now on your list. But now I'm speaking specifically to the owner operator who's going to fix that little thing because he's not going to spend the money to go in there. How much would he be willing to pay for your video that says how to fix this common problem A, as opposed to going into a shop? Now, you're going to set your price based on, this is what I can show you how to do it for. Here's what I know the shop's going to cost you. It's a DIY video. Here you go. This will save you. This will save you some time and money. Now, if you wanted to, again, going from the blog thing and even to YouTube, I'd still open a YouTube channel, but I wouldn't try to monetize it the way that maybe you thought you should.
I was thinking that was going to be all the revenue.
Yeah, I would use that to get my name out. And I'd have some kind of handy diesel name that, you could be Drew's Garage, but I'll bet there's 100,000 garage names up there now. You want to be a little more original. And you start building a base of people that are tuning into those to those videos. And I wouldn't put up more than 5, 10, 15-minute videos at a time, because those are the ones that are getting your name out. Now, the product that you're going to create, if it was me, if I had your knowledge, I would put a 10 to 15 part program together, all DIY stuff that is going to appeal to the diesel mechanic who maybe is still relatively new doing what he's doing, or the guy, the owner operator, that's going to consume the knowledge and try to fix it himself. He may end up still having to go to the shop. I don't know. That you didn't say you guarantee he's going to fix it. This is how to fix it. It's up to him after that, or her. So now I package this product that I will sell individual pieces of, or I'll sell the whole product. Now, I've taken some time to build that. I've taken some time to do some videos that people can walk along with me. And that is going to be worth how much? Well, you know better than I. I don't know what that market is. So now how am I going to sell it? I'm going to start with a blog that I'm getting people coming back to. I'm going to have links from that blog to a one-page website where I have this product that you can buy. Hey, you like what you see? This is what I can do. This might be able to help you. You might be able to fix this on your own. Here's how you do it. You can buy this particular video, this particular course for this particular problem for X amount of dollars. Or you can buy the whole thing for X amount of dollars. You put a shopping cart in it. People are going in from your blog to your website to your order form. You've not talked to any of them.
Just crazy concept.
So how would you build that list? Well, again, I start with the blog. Now, maybe I want to build a list faster. How would I do that? Well, that's a little more of a challenge, but it can be done. You can literally go in and get a list of people that are in a certain area that are diesel mechanics. And you can start sending them an email. Send them an email every so often. Hey, get on my list. Go see my blog. So all these things, that's your marketing side. Everything there is about marketing. When they get to your order form, well, now you're selling. And that's how that process would work without getting your fingernails dirty.
Crazy. That's crazy to me. Just even the thought of it is mind-boggling to me, the different ways you can go about doing what I already do.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that was another hard thing too, is trying to figure out what you're worth. Because it took years for me to even buckle down and figure out that I'm actually worth something, or the stuff I know is worth something. Because trying to give it away for damn near nothing wasn't the way to go.
Well, if you will look, and you don't have to take my word for it, the number one sold item on the internet, aside from Amazon, keep them out of the equation. The number one thing sold on the internet right now is what, Frank?
Information.
Damn right. That's right. There are hundreds of thousands, probably millions of courses out there, of how-to stuff out there. There is money in knowledge. And if you have knowledge, especially niche-based knowledge, like a diesel mechanic, depending on how you go about monetizing it, it can be very lucrative.
Yeah. Yes, it can. Yeah, because I was going to say, anytime someone tries questioning, hey, this, that, and the other, and they're always pulling up some random YouTube video, some guy in a field somewhere working on this, trying to do this and the other. You never get the same response. Sometimes they break it, sometimes it's always, if you had an actual specific, this is the process on how to do it, this is what you're going to need, this is what it's going to take, this is the parts that's going to be correlated with it, what need to be removed, what don't. Because over the years, if you guys aren't familiar with it, auto repair shops or dealer repair shops have SRT times, which is a standard set time, standard rate time for this is how much time it's going to cost to do it. Now,
Sure.
A mechanic's job, per se, is to figure out how to do it under that without screwing anything up.
Right.
Well, if you could give, or not give, but if you could give this information away, overall, it's going to be better out for the customer and for you.
Sure.
That makes sense.
And we've been rocking right along here. I can't believe how fast we have gone through 45 minutes already.
Right.
What that means is we're only going to get time for one commercial tonight, and I think it's only fair that it's Hostika Assurance.
Oh, hello. Hey, Frank Hostika with Hostika Assurance Group, helping you take the stressing and the guessing out of dealing with legal matters that you may encounter in operating a small business, home-based business or otherwise. So ask that question. Have you ever had trouble collecting money owed you?
As a business owner?
Oh, yes.
Have
Oh,
you ever
yes.
have you ever wondered, is what your legal liabilities are when it comes to operating, hiring, firing, marketing, all those types of things? With Hostika Assurance Group, we have resources that we can help you with those things. One of the companies I'm affiliated with is Legal Shield, and we offer affordable access to legal services. So you can pick up the phone and call and talk to an attorney, whatever you need to get some sound advice to, again, solve a problem without a lot of cost. So if you're struggling with operating efficiently, taking care of some things that need to be taken care of to run your business more effectively, maybe creating that LLC or S Corp, and what the tax advantages are, things of that nature, we can help you out. So give me a call at 815-347-0181, and we'll help you take the stressing and the guessing out of dealing with legal matters. That's Hostika Assurance Group.
Very cool. And just as an endorsement, not that he needs it, nor does Legal Shield. They're a very big company with a lot of customers, but I am and have been for several years, a Legal Shield business plan owner, which has saved me a ton of money over the years when it came to my contracts that I sign and contracts that I issue. And I have had the occasion where somebody did not want to pay me. And these days, you can't just go chase them or send some guy named Bubba after them anymore. Better call Legal Shield. So call my friend Frank. He'll get you set up. So we are near the end. So I have one other question for you, unless you have a question of your own first.
Well, not at the moment, but
Okay.
I'm thinking.
All right. So we've unpacked a good bit here, not even scratched the surface of all the things that we do with our platform. But if there was anything that we do and we could mentor you with, that maybe you want to dip your toe in the water, as it were, podcasting or lead generation or lead monetization, blogging, product creation, what would that be?
Well, I would definitely love to learn more about and talk about podcasting and blogging and all of that internet-based stuff, if you will, because that to me is foreign. I mean, it's mechanical, it's broken, I'll fix it for you. But the rest of this interwebs, if you will, is foreign to me. I mean,
Sure.
So, I mean, that to me is very intriguing. I'm very, very curious on that and going further down, following down that path to see where that leads me, if you will.
Okay. We are at tsellers.com about to give you a month's worth of free mentoring on blogging and ultimately podcasting, how one can tie in with the other. So we are happy to do that. We will get started on that this week because we can. And we'll talk about that off camera.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. For those out there who are listening as well and have perhaps had questions about some of the things that we've talked about tonight, and you have questions, how can we help you? You can call me, Tom Sellers, tsellers.com, 608-618-1591. You can also talk to my friend and partner, Frank Hostika, who also works off of the marketing platform, the TW3 platform. And how would they get a hold of you, Frank?
Oh, 815-347-0181's phone number, and you can also find me at HostikaAssuranceGroup.com, and be happy to talk to you.
So just as a side note, and we're gonna end up closing this down here before too long, I'm looking at Drew and I'm thinking he has a question. So I'm going to give you the last question tonight. But to kind of recap some of the things we've talked about and then unbox some of the things we didn't briefly. So to answer the question of the things we've talked about, podcasting, blogging, lead generation, referral marketing, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought there for
Defining your target market.
Right. Marketing plans, marketing assignments, and campaigns. What other things do we do? Now, we monetize all this stuff. What does that mean? So if we generate 100 leads, not all 100 are interested in what Drew or I or Frank is buying. So do we just let them go away? Or should we give them the opportunity to buy something else and let another manufacturer or another company pay us for that? So I'll give you an example. So Drew puts out a lead campaign, and somebody comes in. Yep, Drew, love to talk to you about your DIY series. And he goes in. He looks at it. He doesn't buy today. Maybe he's going to buy a little later down the road. So Drew, not willing to just let that lead that he spent time and money to get just go away, sends him out an email, and let's say it's for an audio book. Let's say the gentleman or the person who went in, if who didn't buy Drew's product right now, goes in and gets a free audio book about diesel mechanics. An audio book sends Drew $15.
Interesting.
Now, maybe I didn't sell my product and make X amount of money, but I made $15 for my trouble. How often would you do that if given the opportunity?
Oh, quite often. Quite often.
So,
Especially with, yeah, go ahead.
No, please go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, especially with everything that's involved in what I do, there are so many and I didn't even know it until you said it now. Didn't even not a thought in my mind, but so many plugs, if you will, to take advantage of that in my industry alone is just mind-boggling.
Sure.
Mind-boggling.
So these are some of the ways that we train you on our platform, how to use it, how to actually put the components together, how to build a marketing campaign, how to write it the right way, how to build a landing page or a one-page website, how to do follow-up, how to create a drip campaign, how to take that customer from first coming in with some interest to going through a series of emails, keeping their interest till they either buy what you're selling them or buy something somebody else is selling and you get paid for it. So how do we go about that? Well, the things we just mentioned, we've also got other stuff. We do bulk texting. What's that, Tom? We can literally send out at will as many texts as we want to a specific area with specific parameters. I just recently started a campaign for an insurance company here locally. They wanted to talk to people in specific area code with a specific income level, with a specific credit rating, to talk with them about a specific type of insurance. I sent out 1,000 texts like that. They are set to go to a one-page website that has a form on it that says, yes, I would like to at least talk to you. Like that. It is also set up that if they don't fill out that request for talking to somebody, that there are 4 or 5 emails to keep them in the loop. And maybe on that 3rd or 4th one, they say, you know what? I've seen enough information. Let's talk. And now they fill out that apply form.
Need that extra nudge.
Right. So those are the kinds of things that we not only have the parts and the pieces and show you how to use the parts and pieces, but also the thinking outside the box. You know, twice now in my neighborhood, I've looked at a couple of guys, Drew and Ed. We talked about it last week. I said, you know, you have a product. We can make this product, we can build this product, and we can market and sell this product. That's some of the stuff we teach you. Frank, I know you, and I've really kind of taken this conversation over, and I did not mean to.
Oh,
So for that, I apologize.
Very
But
happy to sit here and listen.
but one of the things I want to talk about with Frank, or about Frank, now I've known Frank for several years, and I know his main business is Legal Shield. Now, I don't know the answers to this, and maybe you don't either. What I have noticed, because we meet every Monday, we have for a couple of years now, and talk about our previous weeks. What I have noticed in the past several months is you are selling Legal Shield, in some cases at bigger numbers with less effort. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
And how is this happening, Frank?
How's it happening? Well, just because I've created that list of people, for the most part, built relationships with people, and provide them with information, keep that information flowing, so to speak, education flowing, and
So you have
stay in front of people.
right. So you
And
have
then-
a way.
And then when they're ready to buy,
Uh-huh.
they're saying, hey, I think I'm ready to buy now. Hey, you talked about this the other day. Hey, you talked about that. Hey, I didn't have that problem. I have that problem now.
Mhm.
I've got enough people owing me money. I think I want to take a look at what you have.
So if I'm not mistaken, if I'm hearing you correctly, you created interest, whether that be in the form of a visit, because I know you know everybody, and anybody you don't know, you know their brother. So you see a lot of people, but you
Yeah.
also put out a lot of email.
Mm-hmm.
You have built a big list over the years. So most of what we're talking about here is stuff you have been doing, and maybe some of the things that you've learned with this platform may have helped integrate. But I know I've seen your drip campaign because I asked you to put me on it.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things that we're talking about here. I spoke with Frank last week. He's like, yeah, and you were moving. Didn't you sell one while you were moving?
Yeah.
This is what we teach you.
So yeah, somebody bought. I sold something. Yes, somebody bought something. Because that's the beauty of it. You don't always have that. That's what you want to. Always be marketing, always be available, but not necessarily always be selling. Provide the information, get it out there, stay top of mind, and when people are ready, they'll come back to you to buy.
Yep, absolutely.
So always be ready to sell something to somebody who wants to buy. Don't always be out there selling.
Right.
Don't always be out there, gotta buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
Mhm.
Always just, hey, I'm here to help. Need some help?
Define your target, get in touch with your target, start a conversation with your target by building interest,
Build a relationship.
and build a relationship, whether that be face to face, whether that be in the form of content. You know, a lot of us are building relationships on this podcast. A couple of weeks ago, I had somebody who was watching a podcast I did a couple of weeks ago, said, hey, I saw you talking. They are an LA customer. They had been watching our podcast for a while. So podcasting will do that for you as well if you have good content. So now you got the content, you got the relationship, and you're sending them relevant information based on their initial interest. At some point, something happens.
And without even knowing it, I think we've already started to define this funnel of my target area that I was talking about, or that you were talking about, because in my industry, there's quite a few of owner operators that are more than willing to do it themselves and just don't know, want to do it, but just don't know.
Mhm.
Well, there's a big section of that I can almost eliminate in my driveway and are going to their house and working on their stuff if they just have the knowledge, the know-how, and they already have the want to do it themselves. So it's now being funneled to the people that really just can't or want to have someone else do it.
So there you have it, folks. Our 2 cents. Where else are you going to see in an hour's time the drawing board of a new product? And we will keep you up to date. We are going to pursue this with our friend Drew.
Oh yeah.
And we will keep you up to date, let you know how it's going. We'll have him back in a couple of months once he's made his first million.
Shoo.
All right.
High hopes.
The million's probably not going to happen that fast, but let's see what he's got to say in a few months when we get that product out. He's got people looking at it. Let's see what he has to say. Talk about a what's the word I'm looking for here, Frank? When somebody rates how you do. What's that word I'm looking for?
I don't know where you're going with it.
What is the word? This is what happens when you get old.
Someone writes a review.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Review. So see us in a couple of months when Drew reviews the product that we put together and how it went for him.
Perfect.
Drew, you got the last question.
Oh, you answered all my questions. Every time I had a question, you just answered it with your next sentence. But yeah, I really appreciate all your time. You guys are phenomenal, and wealth of knowledge here.
Well, we appreciate you being here and telling us your story. Like I say, we're going to get started and get this product from the drawing board to the market. And let's have some fun. Let's report on it, and we'll have Drew back in a few months to talk about his experience.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
So until then, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We have enjoyed this conversation as we do all others. Do us a favor, get this out to other people, share it with people. This broadcast is growing week after week after week, and we want to see more of you. We love to answer questions. We love to try to help wherever we can. So I'm Tom Sellers. This
I'm
is
Frank Costiga.
Drew. Thank you for being on our show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And Drew got our regular prize for being on the show as a guest. So he's going to treasure those for a lot of years,
Oh,
I'm
yes.
positive.
Oh.
Folks, thanks for joining us. We will see you next time.